Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Dr. Carl Bradley. He's with the University of Kentucky Extension Plant Pathologist there. Well, today we're going to talk about the soybean crop. And it's been challenging because we had some water, then it dried up, and now you're seeing some issues across the state. And so let's talk a little bit about maybe what led to some of those issues.
Yeah, sure. Like you said, we started off the season with some pretty good moisture, and then come August, it just kind of stopped almost. And so some of those conditions kind of led to poor pod integrity. So those pods just weren't able to hold together very well. And then if you recall, just a few weeks ago, we had the sort of the remnants of Hurricane Helene come through Kentucky, and it dropped a lot of rain, which we needed the rain, but the timing was a little bit bad because it probably wasn't so helpful for a lot of the soybeans that were out there because some of them were getting harvested at that time. And just with the lack of rain that we had during August and most of September, and then the warm temperatures, it kind of pushed those soybeans along. Some of them were mature a little bit earlier than normal. And then when those rains came through, it kind of just caused this scenario where we provided really good conditions for some of these fungi that are just kind of hanging out in the field to start growing and to infect pods and to get through the pods and infect the soybean seeds. So there's some seed quality issues that some farmers are kind of reporting and talking about that's happened this harvest season. It's more than just small beans, although that's one of the symptoms. Some of the seeds can kind of be shriveled. And so not necessarily small, but they're lightweight and shrivelly. So that's part of it. But some of it you can actually see some of the fungi, kind of a whitish growth that's going to be growing on those seeds. Some of the seeds are going to be kind of purple colored. So there's a couple of different fungi that we know are involved. There's maybe some others too. One of them is there's a different species that cause this disease called Phomopsis seed decay. So that's one of the main things we're seeing. And then the other is a fungus called Cercospora that's causing purple seed stains. So both of those in the samples that I've seen, they're both present. And it was really because of this rainfall that happened, the poor pod integrity. But then the other part of that was the warm temperatures. So if it would have just been kind of maybe cool, like a cool fall, like we sometimes see, problem probably wouldn't have been as severe. But because of those warm temperatures that were also happening, 70s and 80 degrees, that's just sort of a prime conditions for some of these fungi to grow and cause these problems.
A lot of times when we think of poor seed quality, we think of, getting our prices docked, but
Yeah.
we really haven't seen that across the state.
I have not heard of that happening, so that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I just haven't heard of it. But sometimes um, discolored seed, those kind of things can lead to some dockage at the elevator, so some discounts for price. But I have not heard of any widespread dockage because of this, at least in Kentucky. So I'm hopeful that the quality hasn't been so bad that's led to that.
Are there steps that farmers can take for next year's crop to maybe prevent some of these things from happening?
One of the main things to try to prevent this from happening is to harvest those soybeans as soon as possible. As soon as they're ready, get out there and harvest them. And I know that farmers really try to do that. But one of the ways that can help you do that is be sure that you're picking varieties that kind of fit the maturity that fit your production system. So what I mean is, if you're going to plant like an early group 3 variety, then be sure that you're prepared to go out and harvest that when it's ready. And so it's not sitting out there mature. And when some kind of conditions like this rainfall and warm weather would happen, that's when we run into problems. So getting those beans harvested as soon as possible is the number one thing. A good spot is the Crop Protection Network. That's just cropprotectionnetwork.org. And there's some multi-state publications on there. Both of these diseases that I talked about, Phomopsis seed decay and purple seed stain, are covered in some of those publications in there. So that's one good way. Of course, talking to your local county extension agent, specialists like me are always happy to help as well. So those are all good resources.
Thanks for watching and have a great day.